Pentagon is still assessing the threat of an attack on Israeli soil. I spoke earlier about these tensions with Miri, a retired colonel who served in the Israeli Defense Forces. Miri, how significant an escalation do you think the fighting we witnessed over the weekend was?
It was a tactical escalation. We're in a war of attrition. What Hezbollah wanted to do on the night between Saturday and Sunday was to do a full-scale attack throughout Israel into the area of Tel Aviv, where I live, and all over. And by preempting, we stopped that. So it was definitely a tactical hike, but it isn't that the war is over.
The sites that Hezbollah targeted, although broad, they were not critical infrastructure. So do you think this was about sending a message?
Hezbollah is constantly trying to send a message. They're a terror organization. The psychological aspect is a major part. They wanted to show that they have the intelligence, that they have the capability to do what Israel did to them at the end of July. Israel openly stated that we killed what was essentially like the equivalent of the chief of staff of Hezbollah, the terror organization. And so they wanted to show that they could do the same. Everybody in Israel knows that Glilot is an area of where you have military installations, and using international satellite material is not something very advanced, and they did not manage to do what they said that they would do.
So if you look at the response from both sides here, Miri, what impact do you think that this had?
On the tactical level, this was definitely a clear-cut win for Israel. As I say, tactical. On the operational level, it showed that Hezbollah may want to do things, but they don't have the capacity. And when Israel tries to preempt, we're very effective. Just wish we could have done something like that on October 7th. But when it comes to the strategic level, I'm still very worried about the way that this entire event is being framed, as if Israel is the one that attacked Lebanon, as if Israel did something against Lebanon. Israel stopped a terror organization from firing hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel, as Hassan Nasrallah himself said. And in that sense, just the capabilities that they have really disturb me. So as I said, tactical win, war not over.
Yeah, Hezbollah certainly has significant capabilities, and we saw the Israeli prime minister say this is not the end of the story. Hezbollah has indicated the same. So with that in mind, what could possible further targets be? I mean, what are your concerns?
So as we speak right now, every single day, Hezbollah is attacked now with drones, with missiles, with advanced anti-tank guided missiles. They do it in a variety of different ways, and they're doing so as we speak right now. So that's that ongoing, I call it a war of attrition. It's a war. It's just every single day in a small amount. What everybody here is more worried about is capabilities that the Islamic regime of Iran have passed on to them. If it's surface-to-air missiles, they're constantly trying to down any kind of aerial target that they can. Doing a ground attack, everybody discounts it, but look what happened October 7th. Israel and Lebanon share a 138-kilometer border, and if they do a ground attack and come into these towns and villages that Israel has made the people leave, but if they come in and plant a flag, just that psychological warfare, these are things that they could definitely do. And they could, of course, attack not just in Israel and against Israeli territory, but anywhere in the world. Hezbollah has done that before, in Argentina and in other places.
So Hezbollah has said that it is delaying a full-scale retaliation to wait to see if a ceasefire deal on the war in Gaza is reached. So far, there's been no progress. But I want to ask you about the Israeli side on this, because we have seen that there have been leaks to Israeli media suggesting that Israeli defense chiefs like Yoav Gallant have a differing opinion to Benjamin Netanyahu on the strategy going forward. How unusual is that to see this, what appears to be a bit of a split between the defense chiefs, the IDF perhaps, and Benjamin Netanyahu?
And there's nothing really good, Sumi, to say about the last 10 and a half months of this war, starting from October 7th in the morning. And this coalition government, as it goes together, and in this case, the defense minister and the prime minister are at least from the same party, and they have differences of opinion. If you broaden that to other members of the government, vast differences of opinion, they're from different political parties. It doesn't make us feel comfortable and calm. Having said all of that, I want to be clear. I don't think that the government is necessarily necessarily running the war in a bad way. I don't know that if we would have different ministers, Minister of Defense or otherwise, that the war itself would be run otherwise. I'm talking about the tactical and operational level. But there's no question that we feel it at the strategic level. What are the aims of this war? But Sumi, I wanna hone in on one issue. The fact that Hezbollah has attacked Israel every single day from October 8th, except for when they decided not to. Let's not connect that the way that Hezbollah does to anything happening in the Gaza Strip. I think that that's all. For me as an Israeli, that's part of the challenge. That's part of the reason that we have such gaps. Okay. Hezbollah attacks Israel. Hezbollah calls for the destruction of Israel. Hezbollah calls this war a war against Jerusalem, not a war to help the Palestinians. And we need to view them as they are, a horrific terror organization backed and supported by the Islamic regime of Iran. And so I can see the differences of opinion in the Israeli government, but I don't want to compare them to something like Hezbollah.